Agency Decisions for Environmental Legal Research at Boston College Law School. There are basically three types of agency decisions: formal adjudications, informal adjudications, and advisory opinions. Formal adjudications usually arise out of a dispute involving the interpretation or violation of enabling statutes or regulations. They are very much like cases in that they involve a trial-like hearing with witness testimony, a written record, and a final written decision prepared by an administrative law judge or an agency commissioner. ALJ decisions can usually be appealed to a higher entity within the agency, called administrative review. Typically, these are not binding, only persuasive authority, but prior decisions have persuasive precedential value, so attorneys who practice before an agency can use these decisions. Parties to an administrative proceeding must exhaust administrative remedies before filing for relief in federal court. This is both to conserve court resources and also to defer to the agency expertise. These agency decisions can be reported in official publications from federal agencies, like these decisions from the Federal Power Commission, the predecessor to the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. PDFs of these official reports are often available through Hein Online. Select U.S. Federal Agency Documents, Decisions, and Appeals Library. It's easiest to browse by agency. There you can see the various publications of that agency that are included in this library. The document icon is a link to a catalog record, sometimes called a MARC record, and some publications have additional information linked by a question mark. Pictured here is part of the coverage statement for the decisions from the United States Environmental Protection Agency. Formal adjudications can also be published in unofficial publications. These used to be primarily published as loose-leaf services, like these FERC reports, which contain the decisions of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. FERC reports, like other CCH publications, are now available through the Cheetah platform, like this recent FERC opinion on the Cheetah platform. Agency adjudications are now increasingly available on agency websites. For example, FERC provides access to the dockets of active cases as well as administrative decisions in its e-library. There are a variety of retrieval options, including by citation, docket number, and FERC site. Dockets and opinions can be downloaded from the FERC e-library in a variety of formats. A useful source on federal agency decisions is Blue Book Table T1.2, U.S. Federal Administrative and Executive Materials. While not exhaustive, it does provide information about the availability of published decisions from a number of environmental administrative agencies. The second type of agency decision-making is the informal adjudication. Informal adjudication is a statutorily required decision-making process that may or may not require a hearing and is neither formal adjudication nor rulemaking. Informal adjudications are governed by special statutory requirements or by an agency's own regulations and are generally not reviewable by a court. This is the cover letter of the transmittal of an informal adjudication from the Department of Energy. Informal adjudications are conducted by presiding officers and not by independent administrative law judges. It could be a consent disposition between party and agency, which may or may not be written. It can be done by inspections, conferences, and negotiations, and these are often not publicly available. The third type of agency decision is called an advisory opinion. These can be in response to a question from a member of the public on how to interpret a statute or regulation, or an agency can issue a guidance document, which is an agency statement of general applicability and future effect, other than a regulatory action, that sets forth a policy on a statutory, regulatory, or technical issue, or an interpretation of a statutory or regulatory issue. They are not binding on the agency. Advisory opinions are authoritative interpretations of statute and regulations that indicate agency policy and expectations. Guidance documents are available from many of the major legal research platforms, but agency decisions and guidance are not always front and center. Here are some tips for finding environmental agency decisions on the major research platforms. On Westlaw, choose Practice Area, Energy and Environment, then Administrative Decisions and Guidance. Both federal and state agencies are included here. You can also select a particular agency or type of decision or guidance to search. Here's an example of types of decisions and guidance available from the Department of Interior. And these are those available from the Environmental Protection Agency. Some, but not all agency decisions on Westlaw can be key cited, so to be sure to look to see if there are any citing references available for the decisions you read on Westlaw. On Lexis Plus, choose Practice Area or Industry, Environmental Law. On the Environmental Law page, look under the heading Administrative Materials, Codes, and Regulations. There you can choose between all environmental law administrative materials, federal agency decisions on environmental law, premier federal environmental agency and administrative materials, and state agency decisions on environmental law. To find more information on the content of each of these databases, click on the eye. Now we can see a listing of the agencies whose administrative decisions are included in this database. Lexis classifies energy and utilities law as a different practice area or industry, so choose that practice area if you're looking for agencies dealing with energy, oil, electricity, or gas. On Bloomberg Law, select All Legal Content or Select Sources to find environmental agency documents. Look in U.S. Regulatory and Administrative, U.S. Government Departments and Agencies. Here we can see some of the types of documents on Bloomberg Law from the Environmental Protection Agency. Notice that there are order and decisions of the Environmental Appeals Board and the Office of Administrative Law Judges. There's also more than one place to find guidance documents. Federal Energy Regulatory Commission materials include FERC orders and opinions, letter orders, and guidance and interpretation, such as memoranda of understanding, no action letters, and policy statements. The Environmental Law Reporter from the Environmental Law Institute has decisions from the EPA Environmental Appeals Board and EPA Administrative Law Judge, RCRA decisions, as well as guidance and policy documents. Find these under the Administrative tab. As was said earlier, many federal agencies now post their administrative decisions on their web pages. A very useful finding aid has been prepared by the University of Virginia Library. Here's an example of the links it provides for agency decisions and guidance from the Department of Energy and the EPA. State agencies also post their decisions on the web. Massachusetts has a convenient list of links to recent state agency decisions maintained by the Massachusetts Trial Court Libraries. We can see that there are Mass DEP appeals decisions from 2010 to date, as well as a collection of non-final environmental decisions by the Division of Administrative Law Appeals. Older decisions from the DEP are available from a subscription database prepared by the Social Law Library in Boston. Again, remember to come in through the alphabetical list of databases to be authenticated as a subscribing user. If you need environmental decisions from other states, try looking for a state-specific research guide to determine which databases are likely to contain that state's agency decisions.